And good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for joining the June Congenital Heart Surgery Database monthly webinar. We hope you are all doing well and staying safe. On the call today from the STS, we have myself, Leanne Jones, Database Manager for the Thoracic and Congenital Databases, Carol Crone, Senior Clinical Manager for the STS National Databases, Emily Conrad, STS Senior Database Coordinator, Donna McDonald, Director of Quality, and Jane Hahn, Associate Director of Quality, and also Addie Dolan, our STS staff as well. We also have IQVIA colleagues, Melanie Bent, and her team on the call also. We have a lot of material to cover, so I'm going to just run through the agenda to get us started off. I'll touch on a couple of quick housekeeping items. Then we'll move on to Emily will provide our AQO update. Excuse me. I'll provide a couple of STS updates, and then we'll turn things over to Melanie and IQVIA to provide the IQVIA update, and then we will finish off today's webinar with the Q&A portion. And of course, just a friendly reminder to please submit any of your questions via the Q&A function. Before we dive into things, we just wanted to recognize the official release of the CHSD platform. The platform was initially went live on Tuesday, June 16th, and STS wanted to say a special shout out, a special thank you to all of the beta testers for their time and commitment and countless hours of testing and extremely valuable feedback, and especially a huge thank you to all of you, the CHSD community, for your patience as we all, as STS and IQVIA, all work through to get the CHSD platform ready for launch. So again, we did it. Thank you for your patience, and we hope everything is going smoothly, and we look forward to working with you all and moving forward. So thank you for all of your time and patience. Alrighty, for our housekeeping items, just a reminder that the June training manual has been updated and posted out on the STS website for review. And also for those that may not be aware, the STS does have a mentorship program available to assist new data managers, and we hope that the data manager community does take full advantage of this amazing program. In the coming months, you'll be hearing more information about the STS mentorship program that is offered. The STS pairs will pair experienced data managers with those who are seeking advice related to data abstraction. Potential mentors and mentees will fill out a questionnaire, and STS would match the mentors and mentees based on database types, experience in specific areas, as well as other factors. STS will share contact information with mentors and mentees in order to facilitate an ongoing mentorship relationship. If you're interested in being a mentor or mentee, we need both to make this program a success. Please complete, there's a database mentorship survey out on the STS website, and the survey can be accessed on the STS National Database by clicking the Data Manager Education link under the Important Resources section. And I don't know if Carol or Addie, if you could maybe possibly put a link to that survey in the chat box, that would be nice if that's doable. If you have any questions regarding the STS mentorship program, please feel free to contact Addie Dolan at the STS, and Addie's email address is adolan@sts.org, and I'm sure we could put Addie's contact information in the chat box as well if you have any questions about the mentorship program. Next, I'm going to turn things over to Emily Conrad, our STS Senior Database Coordinator, for our AQO update. Emily?
Hi, everyone. Great talking with you today. AQO planning is in full swing right now. We've had some really great planning calls with our congenital team, with their planning committee. Some tentative topics that we are going to be touching on during this virtual meeting, which will be on Friday, October 2nd for the congenital team. Topics that will be covered will be an update on the stat scores, the Harvard project. There will be a talk on the risk model, what data managers want to know discussion that'll be about pre-op factors, interoperative issues, procedure coding, diagnosis coding, risk factors. We're hoping to have an audit talk that's going to be focused more on the areas of high missingness, common findings, key mistakes, lessons learned. Some other topics are listed here, but we're hoping that you'll be able to join us. We'll be having live content and also pre-recorded content. So the live content, you'll be able to submit questions. And there will also be an opportunity for you to speak with vendors, and there'll be exhibit time and e-posters. So we're hoping to have about 4 hours of live content. As for registration, pricing, registration dates, and pricing and our abstract submission, that should all be coming very soon. We're hoping by the beginning of July, so be looking for updates on that on our website. We'll also be sending you an email as well. You can go to the next slide. Yeah, so if you want to go to the website at all, you can scan our little code here. And if you are also an abstractor for any of our other areas, Intermax and PDMax will be on Tuesday, September 29th. General thoracic will be on Wednesday, adult cardiac Thursday, and then Friday will be the congenital discussion. And then for 2021, we wanted to announce that we are planning to go to Denver. So I'm very excited about that. We hope to see you there. And that's all I got.
Great. Thank you so much, Emily. I'm looking forward to Denver as well. Never been, so looking forward to it. All right. Thank you again. All right, for our STS updates, I know many of you all have been waiting for this information. We have some updated stat scores to share. These additional procedures represent the new procedure codes that were added to the STS Congenital Heart Surgery Database in 2019 as part of the upgrade to version 341. An updated stat score table, which, as you all currently know, is Appendix C of the feedback reports, will be posted out on the STS website and shared with the CHS community. An email will go out this week to the data managers once this updated table has been posted and is available for download. And also, just FYI, this presentation and the slide in particular, will also be available on the STS website. It should be available tomorrow. Marketing will, after the webinar, I'll get things over to marketing, and they will work their magic and get this recording as well as these slides posted up on the website for your review. Also, in other exciting news we would like to share, STS will be offering an option for direct data entry within the IQVIA platform for CHSD. So I was just going to turn things over to Jane Hahn, our Associate Director of Quality, just for a quick update on direct data entry that will be coming soon for congenital. Jane?
Thank you, Leanne. Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining the webinar. Just a quick update regarding direct data entry. It will go live for adult cardiac and general thoracic participants next week. We are working and discussing internally a timeline for congenital, and so it's currently to be determined. But if you're interested in direct data entry, the option to transition, please send an email to stsdb@sts.org. It's listed on this slide, and we'll add you to the list of interested participants. And as soon as updates become available, we'll be sure to send communications accordingly.
Great. Thank you so much, Jane. I appreciate it.
My pleasure.
All right. Next thing, we're going to turn things over to Melanie Bent at IQVIA for our IQVIA update. Melanie?
Thanks, Leanne, and hello, everyone. Let's go ahead and let's take a look at a couple of updates. But before I get to that, I really want to extend thanks to the beta team that participated in providing just tremendous feedback throughout the process. I know Leanne had stated it earlier, but from the IQVIA side and IQVIA team, we also wanted to extend thanks. with all of our interactions, you all were able to provide us with workflow guidance, feedback that allowed us to create another report that gave more meaningful information to, again, assist in the data cleanup process. And of course, just all of the different face-to-face meetings that we had, and of course, the conference call. So just wanted to extend that thanks to you all. So let's go to the next slide.
There we go.
And in regards to just general success and where we are at the moment. So this is a thank you for really the entire community for Congenital. We, as of last week, Friday, we were able to determine that a total of 95,000 records were successfully uploaded. With that, we've seen a lot of activity, a lot of movement, and of course, we're getting the feedback. And we, again, encourage you to contact our support team, and we'll, of course, get to the slide where we provide that information, but I think you all have the information, but we want to make sure that you have both options, of course, to getting us that feedback, and of course, sharing that with IQVIA, and of course, sharing it with STS. So as Leanne had stated earlier, we did launch officially on the 16th. And with that, we have seen a pickup in users that have been logging in and updating records. So again, just as of Friday, we haven't ran the current numbers as of today, but as of Friday, we did have 95,000 records added to the database. So just wanted to congratulate you all with moving forward, and again, continuing to get those records into the system. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So with all of the activity that we've had, of course, we've had some items that have been raised to our team for us to review. If you do not see your specific ID that may have been shared with support, don't worry, we are continuing to review all of the items that are coming in. And so if you don't see your specific item, I think there were a couple that I wasn't able to validate as yet to throw it on the slide, but just know that we are reviewing everything that has come in up until this point. So just know that it's in the works. These were the specific ones from last week that came in where there were specific data elements that may have been rejected due to information that it was being passed in the file. So we are seeing instances where the value should be a numeric value, but we're seeing an actual text string being sent. So in those instances, we are reporting that back and providing the feedback in regards to the records that may have been encountering those. So that information should be shared back to you if you were encountering specific critical errors that were indicating that invalid information was being sent in the DAT file. In those examples, we try to give much information back so you're able to identify the record ID. And then if you need to speak with your software vendor in regards to what is being populated in the file, we are also giving that guidance because at that point, we cannot make any changes to your file that, again, is being exported out of the software system. So other feedback items are related to the missing variable report. So we are looking through those items where in some instances there are fields that are being flagged as missing, but then in the actual data set, the values are populated. So we are looking at that information on a case-by-case basis. So please know that we are researching that, reviewing the files, and also working with the support team to give guidance. Let's see, let's just look at some other items here. In regards to uploads that have failed, again, if you are encountering any kind of file upload error, please reach out to our support team. There are different scenarios that we have to look at on an individual basis. It is not something that is encountered by all. We have to look at what's included in the file and what could be causing the failure. So please just make sure that if you have encountered that and have not reached out to our support team, please make sure you do that as soon as possible so that we can get the file and we can review what the issue could be. Case dropping is another reported item that, again, case-by-case basis, where there are specific records that are being dropped. Again, we're seeing a consistent theme of if there are specific variables that are expecting a numeric value, but a text string is being sent. We're seeing those really be the hot topic items where we're seeing that behavior or that information in the file, and that will cause upload to fail and drop the records. We are also seeing where there are dates that are not formatted correctly, meaning it should be 2019, but we're seeing 0219 as the year. And again, nothing in regards to anything that we can change, but we can point it out and let you know that those types of validations are triggering critical errors and causing those records to drop. We are working on trying to provide more feedback in the messages that you're seeing on the front end, but at this moment, you will have to contact our support team, and we will have to dig in and be able to identify specifics and let you know. So those have been the primary items that we've seen with case dropping. And then others that are listed here, again, missing variable report related to specific fields. We're looking at those and then making changes in regards to the calculations for the MVR, for the missing variable report. And then there are a couple of sites that are indicating that they do not collect anesthesia. And I wanted to raise this to let you know that if you have anesthesia variables entered in your system and you export that into your and provide a DAT file, if those variables are in the file and you upload, we will still validate against that information. So if you are not collecting anesthesia, that means that those variables should not have any responses. And so in some of the examples that I've seen, I am seeing responses in those fields. So it is validating against those actual fields. But if you're not collecting any anesthesia data variables and there are no entries, we're still digging into this specific example. But for the ones that I've looked at so far, they had data. But if you are not entering any data in those fields, then you should not receive any validation messages related to those fields. So just wanted to also raise that. And if you are encountering an issue and you are not collecting anesthesia and you're seeing those messages, please reach out and let us go ahead and review further. Okay? So just wanted to raise these. Let's go to the next slide. I think I have one more slide in regards to, I know we get lots of questions regarding what's coming. And I think I saw some questions related to when are we going to be able to see case eligibility for mortality analysis. So that is in the works. We do have this item, and we are looking at, again, providing this information to you within the platform. Right at this moment, we do not have that, but we are looking at getting that added. And then another hot topic item, which we are again looking at, is the primary procedure determination or assignment, that primary proc determination. So we are looking at that and having that available within the platform so that you're able to get that feedback also. So that is something that we are also looking at. And then, of course, when the time comes, right now there is no harvest close date. So right now, we're in the process of just collecting that data, getting it in and getting it cleaned up. But once the harvest close is determined and we are able to take the data that has been submitted and then send that to DCRI, the next set of reports will be the risk adjusted dashboard reports. And that will be based on the data that is risk analyzed by DCRI. They will be doing that part of the process and then returning that information to IQVIA, and we will present that information within the platform, and that will be another report, a new report. Okay, so that's future in regards to what's coming. And I think that may have been my last slide. Yep, before
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, So let's go ahead, and I guess I'll turn it back on over to you, Leanne, to talk about support. And I guess go to questions after you finish
Yes.
up your slides.
Yes, ma'am. Not much more, and then we'll have that opportunity to answer questions because I'm pretty sure we'll have several of those coming in now. So we'll have plenty of dedicated time for questions. All righty. IQVIA support. You all have seen this slide before, and we'll continue to share it. And also this is also posted out on the STS website, the IQVIA support plan. For questions related to your data submissions, data files, data quality report, missing variable report, harvest summary report, please reach out to IQVIA directly. You can contact them via email or phone. Their email is ststechsupport@iqvia.com, or you can contact them directly on the phone at 833-256-7187. Upon this initial contact with IQVIA, we'll be connected with their Tier 1 support. When you contact Tier 1 and you are inquiring about any specific issues, please ensure that you are issued a ticket number. And this would be a specific number starting with RITM, the initials RITM. Once you have that, then your specific issue has been logged with IQVIA support, and it is being initiated to either Tier 1 or Tier 2 support. So again, please make sure you are issued a ticket number, an RITM number. If Tier 1 is unable to address your specific questions, they will route your inquiry on to Tier 2, and Tier 1 will notify you. I believe the ticket is closed. Melanie, I'm not sure, but Michelle can elaborate, but I believe the ticket is closed and then escalated to Tier 2, but you will be notified if your inquiry has been escalated to Tier 2 or STS and so forth. So again, if Tier 1 is unable to provide support, they will route to either Tier 2, IQVIA Tier 2 support, or STS, depending upon the question. And then STS and Tier 2 will respond accordingly. If STS is unable to identify the question, then we would route to DCRI if it was an analysis-related question. And then we would follow back up directly with you. And then IQVIA Tier 2 would work directly with the vendor if need be. Let's see here. There are a listing of resources available to you for support. As always, please do not hesitate to reach out to me directly with any questions or concerns. And in terms of support, your first page, we suggested you go to the STS National Database webpage. From the database webpage, there are lots of resources documents on the database transition page, and I'll walk through this through these locations of these pages after once we get through some of the Q&A. We have the STS National Database page, we have the transition page, we have resource documents with contact information, webinar information, the FAQs, the Go Live checklist. We have our tiered level support document out on the STS website, as well as educational videos from IQVIA as well as STS, all available to you out on the STS website. Again, here is my contact information, my direct email, my direct phone. If you have any questions, again, feel free to reach out to me directly. If you have any database operational questions in regards to contracts or participation agreements, payments, please email us at stsdb@sts.org, and we can handle any of those questions and get back to you for questions regarding contacts and payments or participation agreements. Also, be sure to mark your calendars accordingly. Our first user group call is scheduled for this Friday, June 26th at 11 a.m. And our next monthly webinar is scheduled for July 17th at 12 p.m. Central. Just real quick, for those of you that may not be familiar with the user group calls, these user group calls are used as a forum where we can talk with one another and share experiences and ideas on how to improve, hear how things are going with the transition from your perspective, and most importantly, you'll have the opportunity to ask questions with IQVIA on the line and get feedback immediately. So we really hope and encourage you all to join this user group call on Friday. The sole purpose of these user group calls is to listen and to answer your questions. Again, so please be sure to add these user group calls to your calendar. So again, we hope you're able to join us on Friday. Next, I'm going to turn things over to you all. We have lots of questions coming in, so we're going to go ahead and start tackling our questions. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Leanne, it's Carol. We got some some questions that came in regarding the support and getting email saying it's closed. And I just want to, if you don't mind if I share my screen, I can show folks what what the email looks like that they receive, because it could be confusing if it's just skimmed, and sometimes it might catch people off guard. If you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
No, sure.
Okay, let me know if you can see my screen. It's coming.
Yes, ma'am. There it is.
So I put a support ticket in. I was forwarding it for somebody else in the adult side, and I put a ticket in. I think it was on the 17th or the morning of the 18th. And I got an email saying that they had received my case. So I'm not sure exactly when, because I can't find that email right off the top. Oh, let me see if this is it. And then I received these emails after. So Tier 1 just handles things like passwords, access to your account, very low-key kinds of things. And then for other things, they then escalated for Tier 2. Tier 1 will get back to you within 24 business hours. They're not there on the weekends, but Monday through Friday, they'll get back to you pretty quickly. If you put it in on Friday afternoon, you probably won't get a response back until Monday. And then when they closed this ticket, they had it escalated. This was when after the CHSD uploader went live, we're helping a surgeon out. They had to escalate it to Tier 2. I got 2 emails that were sent to me. One that said that we forwarded your concern to Tier 2, and that I might receive an email that says my case has been closed. And then it only says closed on the Tier 1 end, but Tier 2 team will reach out shortly to take care of your concern. And then the other email I got was the generated email with my case number. And then the case number is different than the RITM number. The RITM number is specific, I believe, Melanie, correct me if I'm wrong, but it's specific to a problem. The case number is specific to a case. So I got this ticket number, and then it says that it was closed with Tier 1 and has been escalated to Tier 2. And sometimes you see this closed in Tier 1 because it's right in the middle of the email, but it was escalated to Tier 2. So Tier 1 is closing it, it's escalated to Tier 2. Sometimes in Tier 2, it can take a few days to get a response back, just because they have to do a little bit more digging into the issue. And so it's more than a 24-hour turnaround sometimes, just because of the effort they put into, IQVIA puts into checking out the issue before reaching back out to you. So that's where those emails get a little confusing with multiple emails, but that's what that means. So I'm going to hand it back over to you. Thanks.
Oh, that's great, Carol. Thank you so much for sharing that. That's greatly appreciated, and that's very helpful. All right. Can you all see my screen?
Not yet. Yep.
Okay, there we go. All right, perfect. All right, so I guess we've got lots of questions, so we're going to go ahead and dive into these. Melanie, Carol, team, you guys are ready?
Ready, but before you jump there, I just also want to add some context in regards to it should be a 24-hour business hour turnaround. Yeah, business. So that if the email is received, let's just say 2 p.m. Eastern Monday, then 2 p.m. Eastern Tuesday is usually that's the time frame that they should expect some type of response or update regarding their case or ticket. So that's usually how that goes. If it's on a Friday, then if you're coming in and you're emailing on Friday in the afternoon at 2 Eastern, then does cross over, does not count the weekend because those are not business days, Monday would be the contact, most likely, just depending on what the issue is. So I just wanted to also just at least add a little flavor in regards to timing of expected reach out from the team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Welcome. All right, let's get ready.
Yeah. And also just another, well, I'm sorry, just one last. I know I've gotten a lot of questions in regards to data quality reports and the harvest summary report, you know, with functionality and, you know, how it's working and things like that. But also just please, you know, be just a friendly reminder to reach out to STS tech support for assistance. Now that I've transitioned over here to the STS, I know I used to be on the other side helping everyone out with their issues during data submission and things with that nature, but I no longer have access to the files that are being submitted, so I can't go in and take a look at issues and things that I used to do in the past on the DCRI side. So just a little reminder to reach out to IQVIA tech support first. Feel free to copy me on any emails, that's fine, but ideally IQVIA tech support is the one that's going to have to go in and look at the files, and we'll be able to address your questions. So just throwing that out there as well. So I'm happy to help in any way if I can, but I just don't have that capability any longer. So just a little reminder. All right. Our first question, let's see here. When will surgeons receive their IQVIA user IDs and passwords? And I believe surgeons were sent their usernames and passwords on that Monday prior to go live. I believe it was the 15th.
15th.
So it was the 15th. So if they have not received their username and password, I should follow up at STS tech support.
Actually, it would be with STS because usually
okay,
and team.
I'm sorry, you're right.
Just
with Jane.
validate.
And just a suggestion, I would encourage you to have the surgeons check their junk folder before following up there, just in case something got redirected there. So it would be to check your junk mailbox for an email on either the 15th of June or the 16th, just in case it was late in the day. And if there's nothing there, then please do follow up.
Yes. Again, as Jeanette indicated, if there's nothing there, just please do follow up with the STSDB at sts.org. Again, it's STSDB at sts.org. Sorry for the confusion there. Our next question, how do we assess our missing index for harvest with IQVIA reporting? I guess, and Heidi clarified below, missing index in regard to mortality.
So in regards to using, correct me, Leanne, in regards to the case eligibility, is that the report that I indicated earlier that we would be introducing? So we do have the missing variable report where you're able to look at identified cases that are missing information related to fields for mortality because there is a filter there. But we are looking at enhancing and providing the case eligibility for mortality analysis. That's not that specific report is not available at the moment, but you are able to see information related to mortality in the missing variable report at this time.
Thank you, Melanie. Our next question, will the CHSD data analysis continue to be 1 year and 4 year outcomes with a rolling 6-month period, or will it be updated quarterly? And correct me if I'm wrong, Donna, I don't believe there's been any discussion on changing the reporting periods for congenital. I have not heard anything to date.
No, we're just waiting to see how uploading and harvesting goes before we set a deadline, but we're not changing the analytic windows.
Great, thank you. Our next question, if I coded a version 341 syndrome, chromosomal abnormality, non-cardiac abnormality, that was not an available choice for 2018, it will show up as missing for 2018, correct? will this then affect my percent missing and adjusted the AMR analysis? Or is it just that the 2019 version 341 variable is documented as missing for 2018? Sorry, I'm just rereading that.
Leanne, are they saying that this, did we add this choice in the same version, or is it a different cross versions?
Yeah, I don't know, Kelly, could you clarify? We may need to follow up offline. I'm sorry, I'm just a little confused on that one, so.
Okay, you could go to the next one and I'll look this up a little.
Yep. Let's see here. Our next question, will the direct data entry option be an additional cost fee? No, there will not be an additional fee or cost for the direct data entry. Again, if you're interested for more information, please just email us at stsdb@sts.org if you're interested in additional information on the direct data entry option that will be coming soon.
So on Kelly's question, Kelly's question, she's talking about different versions. Version 0.41 went live January 1st, 2019, and she's asking about 2018. So actually, and Melanie, correct me if I'm wrong, but what shows up is per version. So the missing would show up if it was available in one version, it was missing, it would show up as missing in that version. But if it was not available in a previous version, it would not show up as missing in the previous version.
That is correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
Thank you.
Thank you for thinking that, helping me think that one through, Carol. Thinking out loud. Let's see here. Our next question, FYI, DCRI allowed vendors to use anesthesiologist present as the parent value for all anesthesia fields in version 3.3, although this is not in the specifications.
Yep, and we're looking at that. Yeah, this actually came up during beta, so we're looking at that again to see what that change actually was discussed. So we're looking at that and we'll be updating.
All right, our next question. My site only enters anesthesia data for the pediatric patients, not for adults. Will the adult cases be excluded? I think you're talking about would they be excluded from percent missing when we're reporting percent missing? I'm not sure what you, Michelle, if will they be excluded from? What you're asking, what would they be excluded from? If you could clarify.
Yeah, there's no age limit for the congenital database, so no cases are excluded. It's just the adult database under 18 are excluded. So congenital analyzes adults, and you see that in your feedback, the different categories, neonate, infant, child, adult.
Yep, because we don't have any kind of exclusion. It's looking at everything that's coming in regards to the ages. Yeah.
All right, our next question. In prior DQRs, we were able to validate the number of records for surgeons, anesthesiologists, as well as the number of cases for each op type. Will there be something like that available in IQVIA? And go ahead, Mel.
This would be an enhancement request, so this would just be an item in regards to us discussing, IQVIA and STS to determine, this display of information. Currently, we don't have a breakdown like this that shows you by surgeon, by anesthesiologist, and op type. So we would have to just discuss.
Yeah, and this was something that was, I think it was a table that was offered in a previous data quality report. So again, like Mel said, we could discuss as maybe a future enhancement. So thank you for that. All righty, let's see here. Okay, so the primary procedure determination is not yet available in the IQVIA platform. We are working on that. So as soon as that is available, participants will be notified once that primary procedure determination report is available, but it is a work in progress. So, and the goal is to have that available prior to the close of the harvest. Our next question regarding warnings that say demographic data version does not match the data version of the form. What do we need to do with these?
That's informational. Hi, Dawn. That's informational. And usually primarily, if you are able to update your demographic data version, it's basically just letting you know that there is a mismatch. But if it's not something that you're able to change, it's fine. It's more so just letting you know that there is a difference in the versions. But it's not causing any blocking, items for you in regards to your general analysis. It's not impacting anything. It's informational.
All right, thank you. Our next question, is it possible to send IQVIA a secure email with patient ID?
This is Jeanette. I can take this. So if you have a secure email mechanism that you're originating, then IQVIA can receive those emails, yes. But there is not currently a way for you to sort of piggyback on some sort of IQVIA secure email solution. We can send secure emails out, but if you're sending emails into us, that would need to come from a secure location on your side or a secure method on your side. But we can receive those, yes.
Okay. Thank you, Jeanette. Our next question, is there a mortality report where we can check to make sure that we have coded mortalities correctly? So I believe they're just looking for a listing of the mortalities where they have mortality coded for records, say for like 2019. But I think that, I don't think, is there anything correct? Yeah, it's not available. Could look at, yeah, we could look at one of the feature enhancements for one of the, a report that lists all the mortalities that you have coded for 2019, 2018, and such. Our next question, by unchecking critical errors in the file uploader, when I only wish to see error messages for op type 1 and 2 records, will I still see if there are op type 1 and 2 records with a critical error?
No. If you uncheck critical errors, it's going to any critical error, because at that point, it's looking at just any record that has been flagged as a critical. So if you uncheck it, it's going to take those away.
Okay. All right. Our next question, in birth history, if you choose unknown, like in adoption, in IQVIA, it translates it into missing. Can it be changed? So I don't think unknown is an option.
That's the problem.
I have to pull up the specs. Yeah.
Yeah. If it's not an actual option, then it's not following the spec. So it will flag it as it will flag it as missing.
Yep. Okay. But no, it cannot be changed because we can't change the spec. So if it's not a valid value or if it's not available, it's missing. So it's nothing that can be changed at this time as we're following the specs. Our next question is the missing variable report only for op type 1 and 2. How can we validate all the type data?
No, it's actually, you'll see that there's a filter for op type 1 and 2, but then there's an other filter. So if you have other selected, that actually would pull in the cases that are all other op types. And you could just filter on that. You would uncheck the option for op type 1 and 2 and just leave other, and that's what you would see, just those cases.
All right. Our next question, who has access to IQVIA? Only data managers, surgeons, programmatic administration, and what is the access permission? Data entry, read only, interactivity? Thank you.
Leanne, this is Jane. Did you want me to take that one?
Oh, sure.
Okay, great. Thank you. So data managers who are typically listed under STS contacts as primary or backup data and file contacts will have uploader access, which means you can upload data and see all the other areas of the platform. Surgeons and anesthesiologists have read-only access, and anybody who's listed as a national report recipient or a DQR recipient has read-only access.
And Jane, I just put the link into the role description for you.
Perfect.
Oh, perfect.
Thank you. And if there are folks at your institutions who did not receive a login because they were not technically listed as a contact under your participant ID, please send an email to stsdb@sts.org and we'll provide a link to the participant contact form, or actually I can also paste it in the chat function as well, so you can have direct access to that. And you would use the participant contact form to provide any contact updates to STS. And we ask for 2 to 3 business days to turn around those requests and provide new user credentials.
Great, thank you, Jane. Our next, and thank you, Carol, for posting that in that link to the participant role descriptions in the chat box. Our next question for our IQVIA team, it looks like, why does a repeat submission give warnings of no patient ID listed on all of the records previously submitted? This makes it confusing when trying to clean up the reports.
So I can take that. It's Melanie. So when you do subsequent uploads, you will, the system will identify records that have already been uploaded to the database and have been identified as having no changes. And so when you look at the data quality report, those records are then bucketed under one entry, which is called record ID 0. And it may be easy for me to just show, just because it's easier with visuals and everyone is on the same page. I just got logged out, but I'm going to log back in and I'll give you a quick view of what that entry is. But basically, that single entry that says record ID 0, patient ID or no patient ID is because all of those records that have been identified are bucketed in that one entry. So you may see that it will have a number of, let's just say that it's 100 records that you had in your file, but out of the 100, 80 were identified as records that did not have any changes. So 80 will show in that entry. And since all of those items are bucketed, there is no single ID that will show on that line entry, okay? And so that's where by default, it will say no patient ID available, I believe. So that is just indicating that those records were checked and there are no changes on those records, no validations or no errors or warnings associated with those records. So that is why you're seeing that entry. If you select all other records that are in the results, if you were to highlight and select minus that entry of record ID 0, if you highlight everything else, then it won't be included in the results that show at the bottom of the report in the case list at the very bottom. But hopefully that answered the question. If Leanne, if you could continue going through those, I am trying to log in and then I can give a visual. So hopefully, Kelly, that'll help you out too.
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. All right, our next question from Tracy, what time do they close? I think you were referring to support. I put the support plan slide back up on the screen. So the tier 1 has live support Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Eastern time. So that slide is back up if you would like to take a glance or take a screenshot or whatnot. And also this information is slide is out on the STS website as well. Our next question, if I upload the DAT file multiple times, will the most recent load show all errors warnings, or do I need to clean up all errors warnings each time I harvest the data?
This is Jeanette. I can help with that one. So if you upload the same DAT file with no changes at all between them, you just take the same file and you send it up twice, then the first time you will get the DQR result that'll show all of the any criticals if you have them, and your errors and your warnings. And then if you take that exact same file and you submit it again, then what Melanie was just describing about the patient IDs, everything that the system has detected is the same as the prior submission. The system will identify that and it will bucket those results together so that you can see that the system has identified there were no changes, and then the list of records. And she'll be showing that in a moment. So the view in the data quality report will really allow you to see what the system is processing for that submission. And in the data quality report, you'll see all of the new processed or the processed again items for any critical issues that are preventing. So criticals are your most important ones that you'll want to review because they're preventing records from getting into the system or preventing operations from going through. So I would definitely focus on the critical review for any submission and work to get those resolved. Your errors and then your warnings, those are sort of lower priority items. Errors are certainly very important to review, and warnings may in some instances be informational that you don't necessarily need to resolve. As an example from this call earlier was the demographics data version that can not match. So that may be something that you can't resolve, in which case that would be a warning that if you've reviewed it and confirmed that looks okay, you may leave that. There's an additional report that will show you the summary of all the current status of your errors and warning validations for all the data that's made it in, that's eligible for inclusion in the harvest. And that is the harvest summary report, which is visible off the operational reports section below the MVR or missing variable report. It's over in that space. So the harvest summary report will take the latest status of all of the records or all the operations that have made it through submission and show you what errors and warnings are outstanding on those.
Thank you, Jeanette. Like Mel has started sharing her screen.
I just wanted to show you. Okay, all right, so let's just take a look. Here's an example in which we use the same file. You'll notice here, this file that was uploaded, it was uploaded here and it was uploaded here, same file. So this was the first time these patients were being added into the system. So you'll notice we have 480 records that were identified and 480 records were accepted into the database. So this entry, I would see all of the associated errors and warnings, and I know that I have errors and warnings because of the icons that show here. Okay, so the X are errors, and then here I have this blue triangle, warnings. So once I launch this report, and let's go ahead and open that up. I'll go ahead and select the pie graph. And you'll see I do not have, I just want to point out, I do not have record ID 0. Just want to point that out. That only appears when the system identifies that there were records in the file that was being uploaded, that it identified that those records were already in the system, there were no changes associated, and so that line item would appear. That is not the case in this instance. This is the first time I'm uploading, and all of these records are identified as being brand new. So you will see all of the associated errors and warnings listed here. And I selected this pie graph, and by default, it highlights all of the cells, and it will populate my list down below. Okay, so just wanted to show you that interaction. I'm sure you all have been working with this and seeing that, but just in case for those that may not have gotten to this step yet, that is what you would expect to see. Also remember that we did do a data migration, because this was a question that came up last week where the expectation was, oh, I should only see, and this is mainly in the missing variable report and the dashboard, that the records that were migrated wouldn't be included in those reports, and that's not the case. Remember, we did do a data migration, and we imported in records or migrated in records that were provided by DCRI, and so you will have those records included in those reports. So I also wanted to highlight that. Okay, so that's my entry with that file. The next time we came around was on 6/13, uploaded the same file again, and you'll notice that the number is different. This time it recognized that there was a change on one record, and so it processed one record. So when you open this report, you will see that there will be an entry. Let's go ahead and select the pie graph. That is the entry for record ID 0, no patient ID available. And this is the bucket that we were referring to earlier, where it identifies all of those charts that had no changes, and then it gives you the total number here, 479, but there was one record that had updates. And so you'll see that individual record listed, the one that it processed, you'll see that listed, but all of the others didn't have changes. And so 479 were counted, and those do not have any updates, and you will see that information listed here. Okay, if you don't want to include the results for that entry, so what you would do is just, of course, highlight, if you had more records that were available, highlight the remaining records that are listed and just deselect off of the 479. Okay, so you just want those, you would just highlight the ones that are listed below. Okay, so hopefully that gives you context and understand how that is being handled. Okay.
All right. We have a couple of other questions. I know we're running short on, we're getting close to time here. Another question, Melanie, what does it mean if I don't receive a DQR for a date range?
That they don't receive, so they uploaded, I guess let's get a little bit more information.
Yeah.
We uploaded files, but there are no results that appear in that file. That's what I'm assuming at the moment.
That's what I'm assuming.
And if that is the case, and we definitely had operation records, and we had information that was potentially not changed, because you won't receive any, if you've already uploaded and those validations have already been captured on a previous entry, you will not get another set of warnings on that subsequent upload, only if you made any updates. And so what you can do, if you need to validate a certain time range or surgery date range, you would then shift over to using the harvest summary report. And Jeanette was talking about that report a little earlier. The harvest summary is going to allow you to enter in that surgery date range, and it will display all of the current validations, which are errors and warnings. It will display all of those related validations for those records on that report. Okay, so there's a little bit of difference when you're interacting with the data quality report versus the harvest summary report. The data quality report is a report that generates per submission. And so if you've done the submission and all of those warnings and errors are captured within that submission, that report is going to give you that snapshot for that period of time for that upload entry. If you upload that file again, no changes have been made, then at that point, it will not re-trigger the errors and the warnings that are related to that submission. Okay, so that's where the difference comes in. So if you know that you have historical or current warnings and errors that you need to review, shift over and take a look at the harvest summary, because you can put in a specific time range, the surgery date range, and you can review all of those related errors and warnings using that report. Hopefully that made it a little bit clearer with how you can use those reports and get to those errors and warnings.
Thank you, Melanie. And I know we're just over time. And I just wanted to point out, again, everyone, just a reminder that we do have a user group call on Friday at 11 a.m. Central Time. We still have several outstanding questions that I don't think we'll be able to get to today. Again, please, I encourage you all to attend that user group call on Friday. These are the types of questions, that Melanie just went over, the harvest summary report. You have specific questions on how to use it. You have questions on what does this mean? What are you looking at in the data quality report? Please attend that user group call on Friday so we can help get these questions answered for you. So we really do encourage you all to join, and those user group calls are meant to educate and to help you all. So, and we're there to answer your questions. So let's see, I was going to try and see if we had one more question or comment, which I think this is a good comment or a good suggestion, is that it would be awesome if someone at IQVIA and STS could review our old data quality report content and create a document that tells us where and if we can find the similar data on the IQVIA platform. So I think that's a good suggestion. We'll take that back to the team and see what we can discuss internally and see what we can come up with. But again, we're just over time, so I wanted to.
Can I just quickly share? Because even on that, thank you, Becky, for sharing that. We actually got that, and I don't know if she's on, but just a shout out to Diane Alejo. She made the same suggestion, and I actually started that. So we have some good stuff on the way. So we are listening to you, and we want to make sure that we can continue to make this transition easy for you.
Yes, absolutely. So again, everyone, just remind, this is a work in progress. We're constantly, STS and IQVIA are constantly making enhancements to the platform. So we hear what you're needing and wanting, and know that we hear you, and we're working on that. There are discussions, and we are working on that. We want to make this platform useful and everything that you need and expect. So please give us your feedback, and just know that we hear you, and we are continuing to work and improve and make it better every day. So I just wanted to take an opportunity to thank you all for joining this month's webinar, and I hope that you are all able to join us on Friday for the user group call. So we'll be there to answer your questions. So we look forward to having you all join us on Friday. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me directly. I'm here for you. So I hope you guys all have a great day and have a great week. So thank you all for joining, and we look forward to seeing you on Friday.
Great,
and thank you, team, Melanie,
Thank
STS staff. Thank you, everyone, for your support and for being on the call today.
Thank you. Great job, Leanne.
Thank you, everyone.